what staff has outlined here with storing the carts in ventilated areas and hose-out cart periodically and the refrigeration of some of the seafood things. That's the things they already go over with the constituents or with the citizens. So that's things that they always tell them to do, and they basically give them that list. And it's been a concern out there, but like you said, you could solve it with money, but with the timeline and everything else, it might be something if you're interested in doing, maybe put it for the budget next year just to see.
I agree. Thank you, Deputy. Go ahead, Councillor McLeod.
In the information provided by Jeff or his staff, on the second page, there's a list of suggestions as to how we can improve our green card care. And if there was a way that we could advertise that even more than what we've advertised now, I think we'd solve the issues, and they, the public, which includes ourselves around the table, would appreciate that. Yeah, I learned the hard way yesterday. So thank you very much, Your Worship.
Thank you. Councillor Hood, you can haul that microphone over too. I had it there last night, sorry.
So do how many complaints have we had about this? I mean,
Couple.
I mean, we've had,
I've only
where
had
are we
2.
now? 15, 20 years of green cards, 15?
Yeah.
20. And most of us have learned how to do it and learned what not to do. And I haven't really seen this as it would be a fairly significant expenditure, but I agree with the Deputy Mayor. If we were to do anything, I think the take-up this summer would be not very good, you know. The people wouldn't, we're all still having to check whether it's green card day or garbage day. I know that's what goes on at my house. And Deputy Mayor, if you would make that a motion, I would second it. The business of, for the reasons you gave, to put it over until next year when we have a look at it at budget time, and we'd be able to get an information campaign out, and probably for a 3-month summer period it might work, but we'd have to get it out well in advance to make it work, I think.
Yeah, and I think, Councillor Hood, I think you're right. And Sharon at Waste Check would have a hand in that, so she's the education officer out there.
Yeah, that would be their piece. We would let them do that piece. I can certainly speak to local media about it and direct them accordingly, and then they would do their piece. But
I'll make a motion. We consider the weekly pickup of the green carts in next year's budget, and also in that motion that we contact Waste Check, read the education portion of the green cart collection.
Good? Seconded. Okay. Any more discussion? Question's been called. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Your light's on there, Deputy.
Thank you.
Okay. I have police advisory appointments, but I didn't have anything. Okay, good. Thank you.
So, Your Worship, when we did our committee appointments, there was some confusion about Police Advisory Board, and our bylaw says that we appoint 2 citizens and there's a provincial representative, and we had attempted to appoint 3 citizens. So we've sorted it out. Mr. Saxton, who we had wanted to appoint as one of our town representatives, has agreed to apply for the provincial appointment, and of course we would support that. And Sonia Ryan and David Bissell would be the town appointments. So a motion to approve Sonia and David as the town appointments and to recommend Dave Saxton as the provincial appointment would be in order.
So moved.
Thank you. Second. Moved and seconded. Any more discussion? Question's been called. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Okay. New business, radiation unit. Councillor Dennis. Go ahead.
I know that you already sent out a letter, and we also got Argyll and the municipality of Argyll and the municipality of Yarmouth. The only thing is the radiation unit would help with all of the western region. So I'm hoping that we can do a motion to have Mayor Mood send a letter to each council in the western region from Kings County to Queens County, explaining the need for a radiation unit in the Yarmouth Regional Hospital to better serve the people of the region with treatment options closer to home, and ask them to send a letter of support to the Nova Scotia Health Authority.
Good. Seconded by Councillor
Barry.
McLeod. Okay. Any discussion? Question's been called. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried.
Thank
you,
you.
Councillor. Okay, so we have Council Advisory Committee of the Whole. Deputy, you're on.
Thank you, Your Worship. I believe this is for a public hearing, the first one,
Have I got? I don't think
the sewer
so.
laterals?
No, you're at the,
Oh, first reading, okay. I move, Your Worship, that the council accept the staff recommendation as follows. One, there will be no change to the ownership of sewer laterals, including the portion within any street right-of-way. Two, that the deposit system for sewer lateral replacements be eliminated and the bylaw be amended to allow the town to place a lien on the property to cover the cost of repairing substandard work for 12 months following issuing a street disturbance permit for sewer lateral replacement repair. And three, that the town of Yarmouth assume responsibility for replacing asphalt and concrete street infrastructure following the replacement or repair of sewer laterals.
yes, certainly, because I'm just a little confused with
So,
this.
Your Worship, following the Committee of the Whole, I was to contact the solicitor to write the actual wording for the first reading, and I did that about half hour ago. So what you have before you is the actual amendments to the bylaw, section 3.6 and 3.7. 3.6 has a notwithstanding, section 3.4, which puts the onus on the resident. The town shall assume responsibility for replacing the asphalt and concrete street infrastructure following the replacement or repair of the sewer within the street right-of-way. And 3.7 says, in the event that there is any substandard work in the replacement or repair of the sewer, which results in the town needing to remedy the substandard work within the 12 months following the date the street disturbance permit is issued, the cost to remedy the substandard work shall be the responsibility of the owner and shall be a first lien on the property of the owner. And so this is the actual text that you would be entertaining first reading of this evening.
Okay,
So the text that we have before us in the package, which the deputy mayor has just repeated to us, is
that's
what?
my fault. I should- I
So,
just
so,
didn't have it.
Window or?
so that is the instruction. That was the instruction.
No, I understand that.
Yeah, this is the text.
So in the text 3.7, why wouldn't the homeowner be given an opportunity to fix any substandard? I assume the substandard would be failing to put proper compaction in the trench and that kind of thing. Why wouldn't the homeowner be given an opportunity to fix that before we go in and do it and charge it back?
Well, to me, it looks like they can until the 12 months are up.
That's sort of a mechanics of how we do it, and Your Worship, I don't think there's anything wrong with giving them that opportunity if it's
Yeah.
done in a timely manner.
But it says within the 12 months.
No,
what I'm
it
seeing.
doesn't say it now, but you could easily add that to it. If during the 12 months, after being notified, if the, what do we call them, landowner, or if the homeowner fails to remedy the substandard work identified by the town, then blah, 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 blah. Now, there may be better language than that. That's the intent of what I'm trying to say is that, you homeowner should have an opportunity. If you identify the substandard, he should be given he or she should be given an opportunity to fix it himself to our standard. And then if they fail to do it, then that would come into play, obviously.
Counselor, go ahead.
That's fine by me. One thing just for clarity's sake, actually, how often is there substandard work? I know that often you at this point, what has to be done is that you have to put a $1,000 deposit down in the event of. I mean, how often are they not getting that $1,000 back in the real world?
Our engineer cannot recall it ever happening.
And there you are.
Yeah,
Okay.
so, I mean, they're hiring the same contractors that we would hire.
Exactly.
Nobody's doing this themselves.
Yeah. It's not like they're out there with a shovel.
Okay, so I'm just wondering where we're going with this one. What are you thinking? What do you think?
Yeah. but-
Yeah, what do you think, solicitor?
Thank you.
You had your cookies.
Use my voice there. I guess, you know, it does say which results in the town needing to remedy the substandard work. So, you know, if, I think the town could give the homeowner, I think in that would have the opportunity to fix it. And if the town needs to still needs to remedy it, then then the cost should be borne by the property owner. So I think, I understand what you're saying, and I think it can be accomplished within the wording
Within this.
that's currently there.
What are you thinking, Deputy?
I've got my light on for the next one.
Yeah, I figured as much. You can turn it off so I can get you on camera. No, you just weren't on, so I just want you to be on when you read it. That's all. So, are we okay with this? No, what the solicitor is saying is that the opportunity to do this falls within this description, but Councillor...
By policy, you would give the opportunity, by policy, you would give the landlord. Probably doesn't, needs the bylaws knows, thought it up as it went. As long as we understand that the landowner would, by policy, be given a letter saying we've identified that there's substandard work, please contact our engineering department or have your contractor do so and see to it that the penalty otherwise.
Yep, is that fair? Easy? Yep, good. Thank you, Cliff. Thanks. Okay, so I'm looking for a motion to approve. Okay? Councillor Barry, Councillor Cleveland. Any more discussion? Question's been called. All those in favor? Contrary? Motion carried. Deputy?
Thank you, Your Worship. I move that the PACE program be received and placed on file.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Question?
Question's been called. All those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary? Motion carried. Good. Okay. So we are at Citizen Advisory, Planning Advisory. Councillor McLeod, you're on.
These 7 items, Your Worship, which you had from the public hearing earlier, for detail, anybody in the public can look at them at our website. Number 1, I move to amend the land use bylaw to permit the building for accessory use to be constructed on the vacant lot under conditions. The conditions being that the accessory use be removed if either of the lots changes ownership, unless a building for a permitted use is constructed on the lot housing the accessory use as outlined in the planner's report.
Okay, so that's moved, seconded by Councillor Barry. Any discussion? Question's been called. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Go ahead, Councillor.
I move to amend the land use bylaw by removing section 6.61A, which only allows one-sided signs, and replacing it with a new section 6.61A, which will allow multi-sided signs as outlined in the planner's report.
Second by Councillor Cleveland. Any discussion? Question's been called. All those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary? Motion carried. Go ahead, Councillor. Thank you. Linda, conflict with, okay? Go ahead, Councillor.
I move to amend the land use bylaw to permit on-site construction of one-bedroom or two-bedroom unit buildings, brackets mini homes, in the East Side Village Mobile Home Park on Argyle Street and Ellis Road as outlined in the planner's report.
Seconded. Any discussion? Question's been called. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Welcome back, Councillor Barry.
I move to amend the land use bylaw setback for accessory buildings where existing buildings are less than 15 feet from the street as outlined in the planner's report.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Question's been called. All those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary? Motion carried.
I move to amend the land use bylaw by removing the requirement for mandatory bicycle parking units, but facilitating their construction if users so wish to add them to their dwelling units at any time as outlined in our planner's report.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Question's been called. All those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary? Motion carried.
I move to amend the land use bylaw to provide clarity with respect to permitting more than one kitchen in a dwelling unit as outlined in the planner's report.
Moved and seconded. Question's been called. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Contrary? Motion carried.
The seventh and last from the public hearing earlier tonight, I move to amend the land use bylaw to clarify the setback from flanking streets in the general commercial C2 zone as outlined in our planner's report.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Question's been called. All those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary? Motion carried.
I just want, as Cliff and I said earlier at the public hearing, I'd like to repeat here, and Cliff can echo my comments or whatever, but
Oh, Phil's the king of echoing, but he's been good at it. No, you don't. Thank you.
there's lots and lots of work that goes on in our planning department upstairs, and love to have more people come and visit us at council night or planning advisory committee nights. As I said earlier, we have treats, which is new, and love the squares that we had last night, by the way. Thank you, Jeff or Judy, whoever, Judy, yeah. So thank you very much, fellow councilors and your worship.
Thank you, Counselor. Okay. Reports for information. Any questions for committee chairs? Good? No additions?
I want to have a question.
Who has a question? Oh,
I
go ahead there,
didn't turn, I
Counselor.
forgot to turn my light off, but
You can turn, he'll get you back on.
where do we stand with the culvert on Jarvis Road for the dog park? We don't.
Sorry, go ahead.
So, Your Worship, council discussed, well, first of all, council approved to do some basic work as requested by the Dog Park Committee. Council then discussed at a later date some issues within the leadership of the Dog Park Committee and gave direction that, excuse me, that no further activity occur there until the change that we requested has been made. We've not received confirmation that that change has been made, and so we're waiting for that before we do any, before we follow through with that work.
Good. All right, any more questions for committee chairs? Good. Approval of invoices. So moved. Moved and seconded. Any discussion on the invoices? Question's been called. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Dated next meeting, August 10th. Hang on a second. Maybe. It says August 10th. No, I believe it. I just have to make sure I'm here. Okay? And, yeah, so we're good. So motion to go in camera. Okay, thank you. Good, Chief. Thank you. What, Joey? Okay,